To talk about grace and diversity, how many of you have heard of Veggie Tales? Raise your hand if you've heard of Veggie Tales or seen Veggie Tales. Good, that helps with my example here. And someone else mentioned fruit just a minute ago, and I thought, you know what, let's talk about the vegetables. What about Bob? Bob the tomato, he's red and big and round, right? And then you've got Larry, I've got it right over there. You got Larry, who's a cucumber. He's tall and long and purple, and they're both pretty cool. I like them both. I've met them both, hung out with Bob and Larry once, and they're pretty cool, just the way they are. But what if Bob decided, well, I want to look more like Larry? So Bob the tomato kept jogging around, trying to lose weight to look a little more like Larry, thought maybe he'd dye his skin purple to see if he could be more like Larry. You know what? It would mess up the whole show. Because we love Bob for who he is. He's a beautiful tomato. And Larry, we love him as a cucumber. Or maybe here's a better idea for you. Let's take Sesame Street. Ever seen that show? I thought you may have. Well, they're telling me their favorites, I know. Sesame Street. You know what? We all have our favorites on Sesame Street, but we all know Big Bird. And I started thinking, what if Big Bird said, you know what? I'm tired of looking like this. I want to be more like Bert and Ernie. I mean, they look more like humans. I'd fit in more on other streets besides Sesame. And he decided to shave off all his feathers, maybe get a nose job so it'd be smaller to look more like Bert and Ernie's. He would still be Big Bird. He would just look weird. But we love Big Bird for who he is on the inside. Or better yet, who's the most popular character on Sesame Street right now? Elmo. So what if Big Bird said, hey, I got an idea. Instead of being like Bert and Ernie, instead of shaving off all my feathers, I'll just dye them red and walk around slumped down so I'll look a little shorter. He'd still look weird. And he would still be Big Bird, just with a different color, some messed up hair, and bad posture. You see, we are who we are. We are what we are by the grace of God and for a reason. Now, some of you older people may remember the Muppets. Some of the younger kids, maybe not so much because they're not quite as popular as they had been in the past. But with the Muppets, Kermit the Frog always sings a song, and it's not easy being what? Green. You do know Kermit. That is wonderful. They'd be so proud. But it's not easy being green. I don't know. Kermit's probably right. I've never been green. But I can tell you it's not so easy being black all the time. It's probably not easy being white all the time or being Hispanic or Asian. But God never said life would be easy. But he did promise to never leave us nor forsake us. He said, I am with you always.